Welcome to Euro Truck Simulator 2, which we technically need to sing a happy birthday song to, but I think that's under copyright to someone, I don't know. So let's just avoid that whole mess. We have a couple of things to cover just before we set off. 5th anniversary of this game being on Steam. Happy birthday to the game. We're doing the grand gift delivery and we are a few days away from it ending. I believe we're like 5 days away. So do get on that if you haven't finished it yet. Technically, I haven't finished it for either of the games. In fact, I haven't even started on the US side, which makes me a bit behind the schedule, but it's okay. We shall set off now and recover all of that later on. We're in Napoli, which is in Italy, part of the new DLC map that we saw in December, quite late to the party, but whatever. We are going precisely from here to over on Sardinia or Sicily. No, this is Sicily. In Catania, down here where I haven't been before. Very excited about that. Just a few house cleaning things before we set off proper. If we go in here, we go to my company and I go in onto driver manager. You can quite clearly see that we are employing 290 drivers. There's no more drivers for me to hire, which is quite annoying. I just have all the money in the world and nothing really to spend it on. Look here. No drivers available to hire. It said that for quite a few days now. They just don't turn up. For some reason, at 290, nobody wants to work with me. I have become too big. God Christ, you were just this close to getting cut off. What about you? You're not doing anything. We're going. No, we're not. Oh, bloody hell, you were hit. Go on, then. Go on, then, you bloody little launch, you piece of shit. They really are crap, those. They're like rubbish ones. They're not like the Delta, which was brilliant. That thing's just rubbish. Just to go back to the game, let's start off with a game. First of all, always a good place to start off. We've got the new map DLC. The last map DLC they'll do, I believe. I remember reading somewhere last year that they do not intend on making map DLC packs for Euro Truck Simulator 2 that are dependent on having other map DLC packs. So we won't go to like Spain or further east to like Russia or go to the Balkans, if that is to be believed. Or do a Ireland DLC, which would be really small and sort of pointless, if I'm honest. It'd be great if you live there. I'm sure that'd be fantastic. So that really just leaves them with one way to go with maps, and that's to redo the main map or the base map that comes with the game. Perhaps redo some of the DLCs, which could be needed. I'm massively speeding, by the way. It's 40. For some reason, the Italians, who in real life don't really care about speeding, sort of really mind in the game if you speed. So they've set it to 40 here. It wouldn't give a toss in the real world, but here they obviously do. So we have to play by that. So yeah, we might hopefully see a revamp of the base map over the coming years, which would be fantastic. That really is the main area of sort of improvement needed right now. In terms of the overall experience, that would improve it more than, say, a new sound engine or anything like that. I think sound is very important. But I think having a really well done Germany to the quality of Italy here would be spectacular. That would pretty much just rejuvenate the game entirely. I mean, at that point, it is as big of an upgrade as, say, changing the game engine, which I'll cover a bit later on. But that would just be brilliant, and I hope we do see that. Then we have news more closely to what's coming here in the coming year, hopefully soon. The Renault T. Fantastic news. We saw it in the Christmas trailer. If you missed it, check it out on their blog. We had the tease of the Renault T. So it's not dead. I thought it was dead. We hadn't seen it since some of the work in progress posts on Vive la France DLC. So I thought generally that was just gone. They just wasn't working on that anymore. Especially seeing as we saw this one come out first. But no, they're still working on the Renault, which is very exciting. It's always nice with a bit of variety, and that is quite a popular truck. Both domestic and from international drivers, so it would be good to see it. I mean, it was the European Truck of the Year in 2015, which is now 3 years ago, so it's slightly behind schedule on that regard, but certainly better late than never, and presumably it'll be as good of a quality as this one, which, by the way, is fantastically well done. I just don't know what to say. It is the finest piece of work they have done so far. Although this is not a fair representation of what you get with a base truck. I run a fair few mods on top of this. I've run a improved dashboard here which has loads of information. Let's just use a bit of engine braking here, thank you. We'll get that up just in time. do that at 30 kilometers, by the way. It doesn't say on the sat-nav, and they don't have any signs here, but really 30 kilometers an hour is your speed you want to be going through there. So what do we have? We have this low resolution image. For some reason that's low resolution. If we pulled over, turned the truck off and turned it back on again, you'd see a very high resolution Scania logo. I don't know why this one looks so crap basically, but it does. We've got a load display, entirely decorational, does absolutely nothing. Fuel shows us what we have in the tank and how far we'll go. On that is the top number, is the number of litres we have. Bottom one is the range we currently have. Top bar is for diesel, bottom bar is for AdBlue or DEF for you Americans, if you have that. Then we got consumption. You can pretty much guess this out. Top is instantaneous, bottom is average. Because it's Europe, and because the Germans are really weird about these sort of things, we've got it based on how many litres it uses per 100 kilometres. Not in any usual form, like, you know, kilometres per litre. No, let's not be sensible, no. Oh no, the Germans have to be special and weird, but, you know, we have to let them be a bit special and weird, otherwise they go a bit mad, so we let them have this one. Pressure on, I believe that's brakes and oil pressure, all of which is quite vital, although you can do without the brake pressure. I mean, if you do without the brake pressure, they just sort of come on, full stop, as a sort of a safety feature. Basically, on lorries with air brakes, the air brakes keep the sort of braking apart, or sort of, if that makes any sense. It's sort of, if you lose brake pressure, basically the brakes come on because the brake pressure keeps the brakes from being applied, whereas normally in a car, any kind of brake pressure you have is basically used to push them down. So if you lose brake pressure in a car, let me try and explain to you this way. If you lose pressure in your road car, you won't have any brakes at all because they can't engage. But as a lorry with air brakes you have here, they're designed in the opposite way, so that if you lose air pressure, they come on, because the air pressure is actually keeping the brakes from being applied. I think that makes a bit more sense. Anyway, that's far too much detail. Cruise control overview. You can take the cruise control, it comes on. Pretty box standard. I believe the bottom one would be an indication of either lane keep or anti-collision warning, because that could possibly be anti-collision, or both. I don't know, I haven't driven with one of these in real life. So you can obviously see there's a lorry there, that would probably indicate the distance, because it probably got radar cruise control. I guess these things have all of that. Engine running hours, a really useful thing to have. I just like it, it's just a bit more of authenticity. And then we've got the logo again, so that's it. The gauges and everything like that, it's just a bit more high quality with this mod. I don't remember who made it, but it's available over on SES's forum. Got a sound mod working as well, which is lovely and beautiful, and it sounds really nice. Much better than the original sounds, but that is to be expected with the modders. They can do those sorts of things. A few interior add-ons and that, just the usual stuff really. The other big issue I have really with this is if we pause and we go into the photo studio, I can show you something here, and I'll have to lean over. I'm using, as you can see, another mod out here, which allows us to paint the grille. Don't know why that wasn't included in the base model. That seems to be a thing with SES models. They don't do that. They didn't do it with the old Scania either, which is really weird, but certainly there is a mod out there that fixes it, also on the SES forums, which I really recommend because it really helps to make it look really nice. I've got the Britex lighting pack going. I've got the 50k wheels. I believe it's Michelin DLC tyres I'm using. All of that should then have covered all of that. All in all though, high quality truck model, highly recommend it. I personally prefer running the straight 6 rather than the V8. I just think the V8 sounds a bit vulgar. I just get really quite annoyed listening to that for prolonged periods of time. By the way, that's a fucking Lamborghini, and it's available in a police version, which we might see later on. I'm going to do a cheeky lane change here, because this is just fucked, basically. Have they crashed, or are they just indicating out? They're just indicating out. Fantastic. So we're going over to Sicily. Hopefully the Mafia won't shoot us in the face. That would hurt. Also regarding the game, let's go back to that. Something I just remembered, and I really should have remembered a bit earlier, is another thing that's coming, which they teased either early December or late November. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Anyway, it's another trailer pack. Possibly DLC, possibly free update, we don't know. From Corner, very excited about that. Another one of the main players on the trailer manufacturing market. We've got Schwarzmüller already, which is a lovely one. And now we've got Corner coming in, which also, if you play Farming Simulator, you'll know them from there as well, where they do all sorts of mainly based around grass work. You've got the Corner, let's not talk about Farming Simulator anyway, or farming equipment, but they do trailers and agricultural equipment, many other things, I'm sure. And they're coming in, they've teased that they're doing work on it, so we don't know what are coming, what all of that is. We just know it's coming, and it's very good. Top marks for that. The latest update for the game also had some thing about multi-torque engine things, which I don't know what is. Apparently that's part of the new DAF, which they also gave us. By the way, last year we technically got 2 trucks, although one is not really a free truck as such. What it is, okay, now let's go in here to About Truck Browser, because what it is, if we go, I just go, where is it? There's a DAF XF, Euro 6, the 106 DAF, not the, oh, you think I got a replacement mod installed for that, not the 105, which is this one. Basically, what they changed here was a bit about the engines, the interior, and then they made it look a bit different on the outside, otherwise they're pretty much the same. Anyway, what they changed about this, and hold on, it's a huge change. This is the new one, right? What they did was just change that. Oh no, they didn't. They also changed the back plate there. I think that's pretty much it. And then, oh, that as well, which was, oh, they removed, or they added on some grey plastic trim. Wow, what a shocker in it. Presumably also some bits. Oh no, nothing there. What about handles? Nothing new there. Nothing new there. Basically, there's not a lot of new, but, you know, it's nice of them to just toss that in for free. Other developers would certainly have just been happy to release that as a payware DLC pack. Not SES Software, of course. They're good people over there. And that's about it in terms of news for now, unless they've come up with something else to tell us, which I don't think they have. So, yeah, good on that. We're working on ATS as well, but we'll cover that at some other point. Now to the actual Italian DLC. First of all, pretty, absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't noticed it already, I mean, I can't recommend it enough. If you got the money, by the way, because it's fairly expensive. But if you do have the money, I mean, really, why not buy this? Because this is absolutely the finest piece of work. Just spectacular looking. It feels wonderful. I haven't noticed any sort of problems with it at all, apart from the 40 kilometers an hour on and off ramp, which we've already seen. But I think that might be realistic, because I believe they might be much tighter in the real world or something. They've also managed to include that double level central reservation barriers, which is quite intimidating in real life when you're in a car. I have been on the Italian motorway and found that quite intimidating, just having those 2 ones immediately in your face. Then again, we spent most of our time parked on the, is it the Autostrada? I think it might be, because somebody's had a smash up ahead, so it's not really relevant at all, but that happens, you know. But on to something else that I read in a review about the Italian DLC was, I believe, Rock Paper Shotgun, who had some quite interesting thoughts, in my opinion. Although their review seems to be a bit more casual on his approach to these truck driving simulators. But that's not really relevant here. It was just sort of talking more about the need for a new game engine, because it basically doesn't look as pretty, which is technically correct. It's not the best lighting engine and like graphics, and there are plenty of things you could upgrade with, but I wouldn't go in for a new engine update or a new version, a Euro Truck Simulator 3 if you'd like, as a result of just wanting a prettier game. There are many more features that we could want, like changing more core gameplay values. I mean, first of all, having used trucks for sale, it seems pretty simple to do. I'm talking as somebody with no experience or insight into how any of that works on this game engine, but it just seems like something that would be simple to do, as we have the custom quick job things, whatever they're called, available with trucks out here. You could probably just use something like that and just have the truck for sale. It just seems like a nice thing to do for early on in the game. Then again, that sort of adds on to something else I'd like, and that's customizable economy. As I already showed you, I now have 117 million. I've got basically nothing to spend it on. I could keep buying garages and putting trucks in them, but I don't have anybody to drive them. So I'd like an option to tune the economy and set a different value. So I basically, what I want to do is have a sort of half realistic income setting, and also with expenditures and that. I think it would just be nice, you know, if for the proper simmer who wants that experience, and I sort of do. I found a mod that allows me to do it, but I'm not doing it now because I'm doing this instead, and that this account is linked to World of Trucks, so I have to use this one for this. So that plan is sort of on hold, where the mod basically allows me to tune the economy, so I might be able to do what I want to do with that. I would just like to see that in the game, because I think it would be a bit more fun to do it that way. But I would also like to see like a complete overhaul in the way the job thing work as well. Like, I'd like to see partial drops, like where you get a trailer and you have to do multiple drops. That would be interesting. I'd like to see multiple pickup points as well, if that's the case. I'd like to see functional dumpers. Like, you actually have to tip out the side of the road. That's one of the main sort of immersion issues right now for me, is the knowledge that you don't just go and drop off a trailer. You use it over and over again. Like, you could just accept as a sort of a shortcut, if you like, to a solution, would be to just have you do multiple drops at different depots, where you just drop it off, drive to another one, pick it up, and then you drop it off at a different depot, and that will sort of substitute a contract. However, it would be nice to see a system developed coincided with this for trailer ownership, because that was in the old 18 Wheels of Steel. I played 2 of those. Was it hauling? The first one, the 18 Wheels of Steel hauling, was the first one I played a bit. And then I played 18 Wheels of Steel American Long Haul, is that correct? I don't know, you can't tell me. This isn't a live stream, you can't tell me. I'm just saying things out loud now, and I'm trying to answer them in my own head. So please don't take that as you needing to answer back to me, because I could have looked it up and I would have forgotten anyway, so it doesn't matter anyway. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about that. Yeah, it would be nice to see that, because that has been in the games previously, trailer ownership. It'd just be nice, because it'll help a bit more with the economy and that. Because basically, if you could cut down the income and increase the stuff you could buy, would be nice, and you could get paid more than if you'd rather use those traders. Besides, you could design, you know, like the thingies on the side. That'd be nice too. It would also be nice, you know what would be nice, even in Euro Truck Simulator 2, is if they got in touch with Kelsa and Hella and all of that stuff and added in all of that. Because that would look brilliant. I mean, right now, I'm not right now anyway, but we can quickly pause here. If I then go into Company Manager, please go into Truck Manager, thank you kindly. And we then go down here through all of this. Actually, no, we can probably grab one of these, right? Have you gotten the upgrade? Oh yeah, you've gotten both upgrades, lovely. So see, here we got the grills, I've got some Hellas up here, but more importantly, I've got Kelsa bars right up here. They're part of the 50k add-on pack, which is nice. Same down here with the Kelsas. I think they're called Kelsas anyway. I've got some NBB lights on there, but I've got so many to choose from, really. What do you want up here? You can have your NBBs. I don't know if that's a real thing. You can have helicomium, same from that one. But even more importantly, we've got some proper big Hellas up here. We've got even more chromiums, which is a different add-on, which I think looks just slightly better if you're into the chromium, so go for that one. We've got these, the Jumbos, which is nice and great. Up here we've got the Britax pack. All of this stuff will be really cool to see in the game. And let's just see the difference between these light bars out here, the yellow warning ones, from what SES provides to us by default. This is the original one that we know and seen very well. This is the bonfire one, which we've also known and seen. These are the more recent add-ons, right? They're not really that brilliant, are they? They're very expensive and they're not very pretty. Well, you could go in and get the Britax pack, which looks a lot better in my opinion, sort of a bit nicer and things. It sort of goes a bit off here because you don't have flashing middle bits out here. It does split like this, but you can't have it go did and then have them flash a bit quicker than that. Basically, I want ELS for this, but that's not really likely to happen anytime at all. So that's not really important. Anyway, that was just that. It would just be nice to see this because they're sort of beginning to add that on with tyres and trailers and all of that stuff. It would just be cool, I think, to see all of this. Oh, whoops, it's pressing all the buttons without knowing what they do. Can we have a gear change? We can go into 12. Thank you. Yeah, they could also overhaul how that works because basically I'm now in economy mode. It shouldn't do kickdowns, I believe, in economy mode. As far as I've read anyway. I haven't tried them in real life, but apparently eco mode pretty much just takes that away entirely. And it doesn't here. Anyway, it would also be nice, of course. Graphics upgrades would be nice. A lighting upgrade would be nice. I just don't want to end up in a Battlefield or EA kind of situation where they develop admittedly a very pretty game. Like I just recently saw a video on the new Battlefront 2, which weirdly is Battlefront 4. because EA is adamant that they need to rejuvenate all of the time because they're afraid of getting old, it seems. I just don't know why they have to do that every bloody time they do. Oh, reboot, 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 just use the same name over and over again. It's stupid. I mean, it's EA, so they're obviously arseholes and don't really want to buy any of their games, including the Star Wars one, partly because I don't care for EA games and partly because I don't care for Star Wars. I just don't get what all of it is about. You know, it's just some space bit in it. Like, I could watch something else. I could go on YouTube, watch interesting stuff there, rather than go and watch that. Anyway, that's another thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's just, I don't want to be in that same situation anyway, where you've got very pretty games, admittedly they are. I mean, the video I saw, it looked absolutely gorgeous, but the beauty is absolutely skin deep. There's no substance to it at all, and there is sort of to this, because in the graphics here, it's just, you know, I don't feel like the graphics is a problem here. It's not inhibiting my enjoyment of the game, I suppose is the right way of saying it, but certainly having nicer graphics would improve. It's the same thing with My Summer Car, for example. I don't think that graphic engine is necessarily bad. They're certainly improving on that game with the updates as they come along, or technically the guys, I think it's just one guy, or maybe just a few guys. Can't really work it out, but they seem to be updating the map as it goes along, and a lot of it just seems like placeholders and that. And that's entirely okay. I think that game's pretty actually when you're driving about. It doesn't need high quality graphics as long as it does everything else right. Of course, having nice lighting in this would make it a lot nicer to drive at night, which at the moment I'm sort of trying to avoid altogether, because, you know, when I'm exploring a new DLC pack here with a map, why would I see it at night when there's hardly anything visible? So, hang on, are we not going towards that town? Okay, no we're not, we're going on to another one, because we're going to Villa San Giovanni, and we're cutting the boat over to Messina, which I'm sure is correct. We of course go to an airport if we want. We don't, right now anyway. We're just cruising along here. Where was I? Yeah, talking about that. So basically, beauty, it would be nice to see that, but AI improvements would probably be highly up the list. Also, just, you know, making the AI drive nice and use indicators a bit better and do lane changes and behaviour around the player a lot nicer than it currently does, because it doesn't feel very sophisticated right now, and that's probably because most of this is dates back to the 18 Wheels of Steel days. So yeah, I sort of agree with him that it would be nice to see a new engine upgrade, but for so many other features, I mean, I'm sure you've all got your own features out there. I mean, you know, just drop-off points, like having dynamic drop-off points, they've sort of gone the right way in ATS now, but I would love to see that here as well. Like, you come in there and you get assigned a gate you have to go to and deliver the trailer at, or, you know, that have to tip at the side of a road if you're carrying gravel to a road section, or wait and empty your concrete mixer, or have your flatbed load lifted off, then having to drive on to do another one. I think that would be so cool. That would add a lot more immersion than just a simple graphics update. But that's just me. I mean, real truck drivers, they can drive empty for miles and miles. I saw a video on YouTube, actually, in October, I think it was, of a bloke driving from Holland to Denmark, emptying his chemicals, or whatever it was certainly some sort of ADR transport, then driving back to Holland empty. Why don't we do that in the game? That seems like something, especially when you're a company owner, should be in the game to improve gameplay as a company owner. If your driver spends a lot of time driving about empty, you know, you might get paid more for the jobs, but, you know, you have to wait up, and I just want some more immersion in here so I can roleplay, basically is what I'm saying. I know I'm in the tiny minority here, the vast majority are probably casual players, but I just want the depth, and I want to just, I want that, and I know they want to do it too. That's a nice thing. I'm not complaining, because I know they just want to do everything as well. I mean, we've seen how long they took to do the Special Transport DLC, because they just want to get it right, and I'm much happier with that than just simply rushing out and doing basically a Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is Battlefront 4, where the beauty's just skin deep. I'd rather have a game like this where there's, you know, a lot of substance to it, rather than just putting on a pretty graphics and then that's it. So I'm perfectly happy staying with this. It's just, if I lived in an ideal world where I earned like all the money in the world, I'd just spend some of it on that. Obviously I'd try to eradicate poverty too, and get rid of ISIS, and probably Donald Trump, because he'd be pretty easy to buy, I think. But also making a decent one here. So basically, make sure I get lots of money, because that make us all happy. Like literally the other day in Democracy 3, I turned everything into socialist heaven, I eradicated poverty, and I got jobs for everybody. Does that not sound like the kind of guy you want to run your country? I shouldn't probably mention at the same time that I'd... Fuck me! I was committed into this lane. And we can fill up. Happy mistake, happy mistake. Let's turn this around, turn this into something good. You know, glass half full and that. Stuff happens, deal with it. Turn it off here, we'll just fill it up. There we go, we got a full tank of fuel. We haven't covered that far on this tank. I do like to reset my trip. There we go. Nice feature, by the way, on this Scania. You've got a trip counter just below your... I believe it's a odometer or the odometer, as I want to say, or the mileometer. I don't like the mileometer in that. It just sounds weird because it's not that. It's an o-meter or a meter. You know, it's not. It's same with kilometers. It's not a kilometer. It's a kilometer. You have to pronounce things right. I know it's probably technically correct, and you could say kilometer, but it's a kilometer. It's a kilometer. You have 1,000 meters. That's a kilometer. Same thing. You wouldn't say kilograms, would you? You would say kilograms because it's a kilo of gram. Well, it's a gram. It's 1,000 grams, so it's a kilo. You know what I mean. You know what a kilo is. Unless you're from America, in which case you haven't got a clue. Or you're from Australia, in which case you're just perpetually confused about every measurement because they seem to use absolutely everything down there. Like, they seem to use kilometres and that for distance, but I don't know if they use litres or... I believe they do, because I've seen supercars from Australia and they use litres, which is nice. But they seem to be using pounds per square inch instead of bar. Very confusing. And I mean, admittedly, only the Germans use, what is it, they use kilowatt for engine power, but let's not get into that. The Germans, they're a bit special, but if we don't let them be a bit special, they go a bit mad, so best to let them be a bit special every now and then, innit? Let's just resume our speed here. Let's gently apply some engine braking. Nobody on the outside. Thank you. There we go. Let's get it onto something useful over here, telling us our fuel consumption. I like having it on that, it's nice. This map, oh, not this map, but this mod also allows us to brake. We are speeding massively. Hang on, so while we're dropping to 40, just around the bend we're up to 50. Let's not ask questions, it's the Italians. The only things they're really good at is having bunga bunga parties and stealing trains. Yeah, but still, that's the thing. I've talked about it a few times, but they literally sold one of our trains. Not even sold, they gave a train to Muammar Gaddafi that was meant for Denmark. It's still there. It's like Silvio Berlusconi just gave a train to Muammar Gaddafi. Why would you do that? They've sold it to the Danes. I mean, we haven't really used any of the trains they sold us yet, and I believe technically we won't. Basically, they sold us some trains, the Italians, on Soldo Breda. If ever you're buying a train, just avoid them at all costs, because we bought them, they were scheduled to be delivered in like 2000 and whatever the phase, and basically they never really came in. I can't remember when I lived in Copenhagen in 2010, 11, 12, sort of that time. They were supposed to be they were supposed to be implemented then, but they weren't, and they still haven't entered service. They actually just took them off the Italians because they couldn't bloody finish them, took them to Denmark, basically employed loads of Danes to basically split them apart and take some of the ones that can't be fixed, turn them into spare parts for the ones that were working. It's just a bit weird. And now they've decided to electrify the whole network, so the whole exercise is bloody pointless by 2024. I just don't understand how that is, but that's just the public sector, innit? Whenever the politicians get involved, it goes to shit. Oh, and they gave Soldo Breda the contract for the new metro train for Copenhagen. Well done. They were the only ones that bid, admittedly, but you should just have gone, nah, mate, we'll just have to change the conditions, because that's just not on. Anyway, that's just me ranting about that system. Oh, and apparently, what was it? We've had boats built by the North Koreans. That's genuinely a thing. I mean, we have humour in this country, clearly, as you can hear. Like, our trains turn up in Italy, no, our train turns up in Libya, and like, we have boats built by the North Koreans. I mean, you can't not have humour. Oh, yeah. And the light rail line built in parts of the country is apparently built by the Italian mafia, so well done. Which apparently are also going to build a bridge in Denmark, but that's been put on hold because they've been done by corruption in Italy. quite weirdly, they've done and basically cared about that. It's just very weird right now. Anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll sail over there to Sicily. I shouldn't have just said that before I got on the boat to Sicily, should I? Because there's probably some people in like a Dark Alpha or Maserati, because that's what they would be driving, waiting right. Oh, yep, they're right there. I'll just, I've got the engine was already on. Turn on, turn on, turn on. Let's just try and avoid the mafia. Just look like you might be Swedish or something. That way they think you're too stupid to say anything stupid. It's the Swedes. They're drunk most of the time anyway. They wouldn't know what to say. Oh, bugger me. That was quite heavy, wasn't it? I bet that didn't mess up my trailer, did it? No, just got some wear on my tyres. Oh yeah, you could also implement, if you did a new game engine update, have service intervals that you needed to take care of, which you'll have in real life. I believe the first one for a new Scania is 10,000 kilometres. They'll have to go in for a basically grease and lube check. I know that because I've seen the stickers on a relatively new Scania, which had to go in for that actually. Oh, green light, let's go, 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 go. The Italians have that stupid directly to green system that seems to be popular in certain parts of the world. I just don't get it. The yellow is useful, it tells you when you're about to move off so traffic is more smoothly. Because if you haven't moved up within a femtosecond in Italy, they will lay on the horn unless you get out of the way. And, you're not ready for that. Because you live in a civilised part of the world where you have proper working traffic lights and no bunga bunga parties. Which technically, some could say that's a downside to, not living in Italy. Some think it's a positive thing to have bunga bunga parties. But not when you find out they're with minors. That sort of takes away half the fun, I would guess. Especially if you're an old man who's supposed to be the president. But that hasn't stopped other presidents since, has it? Yeah, enough about that. Generally, I don't like to talk about... You bastard, bastard, bastard. Yeah, alright then, you gave me a ticket. I'm bloody well running the red light. Who was it? Who's a bloody nutter who gave me a ticket there? I had no chance of stopping. You gave me a ticket. I would just drive right on then. Sorry, but that's how that works. Yeah, I don't really like talking about that kind of stuff because, we all know Trump's an absolute dickhead. So what's the point in talking about it? I mean, we know he's a stupid, corrupt cunt. So there's no point in really bringing it up and all of that. It just sort of makes everyone miserable. But rest assured, I do think he's a cunt. And we got a red light. Great. God, the Italians love their traffic lights. And another note, which is very weird. Denmark's just gone weird land here. They've legalised gay marriage. But there are certain parts of the church that doesn't want to do it. So they just go, no, we don't want to do it. I mean, I'd sort of like to know if my church... I don't know if you can actually check it anywhere, but I should look that up. Because I'd like to know if my church allows it. If they do, happy to pay tax. If they don't, I'm probably going to cancel my church tax. Because I'm not going to support that kind of bigotry, really. I mean, there was... in December as well, there was basically a job out for a new priest for a part of the country. Why am I changing names? I don't need to change names. Fuck me. Yeah, there was a advertisement or a request for a new priest for a part of the country, and they required that priest to be comfortable with gay marriage. So yeah, that'd be nice to know. I'd like to know that, because why wouldn't you want gay marriage to be a thing? What does it affect me? I like women. What does it matter what other men do with other men, or women do with other women? In fact, I'm a much bigger supporter of lesbianism than I am of men. I mean, technically men is nice, because that's, fewer fish in the pond and that. But lesbians, so much time has been spent researching that subject, so I just can't express my support enough for those. It's just, they're doing, as far as I'm concerned, they are literally doing God's work. Anyway, that's not really relevant to this. And they've done medical cannabis, not the smoky kind. Apparently it's like some sort of pill you take, which seems a bit weird, but whatever. But no doctor wants to prescribe it, which is sort of fair enough, because according to them, I'm not an expert on the subject, there's not really enough research, there's not enough scientific evidence to suggest A, that it has any long-term effects, and that B, there are not any serious side effects to long-term use. So they don't feel like it's correct to prescribe it, because they have to keep the patient's best interests at heart. which I can fully understand some patients feeling that's a bit, you know, they're getting hard done by here because they've got this thing that to them, who have been self-medicating with various types of cannabis over the recent years, they feel quite hard done by because they just take this thing and it makes them feel good, or it takes away their pain or something like that. So they feel like the doctor's not having the best interest in heart, but can also see the doctor. So it's sort of like a weird thing where you're going wee 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 wee. And bizarrely, there's plenty of people who want to grow the sodding things or produce the sodding things, even though it's a relatively controversial thing. Because we're basically corrupt capitalists all the way through, which is also what our politicians are, so that's just nice, you know. I mean, at least be consistent at one thing, and we're very consistent on that. So there are plenty of people who want to set up, do like massive growing things, legal grow things of course, but you know, nobody wants to prescribe it because they basically don't know if it works or if there's any serious side effects to it. Are you going to let me out? Do you not know how a merge works, you dickhead? Yeah, I'd like to see that fixed because, well, technically I only go by the rules of my country, and that's a merge. Like, you know, the first person there, you merge, so you sort of adapt to it when you come onto the motorway. It seems completely stupid to have it working any other way. How are you supposed to get on the motorway if they don't let you there? You're also supposed to move over into the outside lane if somebody has to merge on. Please do keep that in mind if you drive on the motorway, because it's a polite thing to do. It means that we can all get where we're going without having to brake. And if you brake, oh heaven, that really should be punishable by death. Unnecessary braking on the motorway or anywhere really in traffic, because that can cause quite severe traffic jams. Simply brake. Hang on, what's going on here? What's this? Am I being anally probed now? Is this what the TSA does? Oh no, it's just some sort of concrete design thing. That's okay. I thought it was some sort of X-ray TSA probe thing, but no, it's just smart. Or some design. I mean, I don't know why you would design it like that, because it's not very pretty. And it probably isn't really very sheltery at all for anything, but you know, I suppose that's what the Italians do. And by the way, how pretty is this countryside here? You've got the hills, you've got the rolling hills, you've got... It's just so pretty. You've got a road, hills. What more could you want in life? Well, many things really, but you know, in the scope of a trucking simulator, really you've nailed the essence here. Beautiful scenery to drive in, engaging stuff to do, a lovely truck to drive. It's beautiful. And that's an old Scania over there, but that's okay because that's a Scania and that's good. It's not a Volvo, which is basically just a Renault with a different thing on the front. Because they do share several components. I believe they're both owned by, is it Geely in China? I think they are anyway. I think both Renault trucks and Volvo trucks are owned by Geely. So they're technically the same thing. So why would you buy that? And you can have this. We just set the cruise control, just lean back and enjoy the day. We can go to Fui Spa. Not really a fan of that, if I'm honest. We need to drop the trailer off at the right place. That's an Alpha, by the way. Lovely motors. I have seen the new ones at Julius. Ooh. I saw it in white, which isn't its best colour. Technically it's not a colour, but you know, let's not get pedantic. Ooh, that's pretty. I've even seen their SUV. Or maybe I'm getting that confused with Jaguar, but that's also very pretty. It's amazing how the SUVs these days are actually getting quite pretty. There was the Evoque, that was the first one that was sort of properly good looking. And now we've got quite a few of the Jaguar F-Pace. No, is it the F? Yeah, I think it's the F-Pace. Oh, that's pretty. I'd be very happy driving that about. Oh, of course, on the other side, there's the... And I need to be careful here because I don't know how to pronounce it, the Bentley. I want to call it the Bendergay, but that's a bit wrong. And maybe if it was the 1930s, we'd call it the Bendergay, but it's not. So it's the Bendergaya, or something like that. Bendergaya, or Benderguju. It's just a weird name. Apparently it might make more sense if you're from like Dubai or something like that, where they've got all of the money these days, or Russia, which apparently also has lots of money these days. Who'd have known that Russians would have money and would want to spend that on something in the West? What a surprise to people. Oh, hello. Let's not look out there. Let me grab a quick drink as we approach Catania, which sounds a bit like one of those Asian ninja weaponry things, doesn't it? The katana, that's the word. Oh, we're in a race now with this bloke. Yeah, you're going for an overtake. Oh, mate. Oh, mate, no, you're not. Hopefully you're not going towards Palermo. You'd have to cut me off. But, you know, you're not a human player, so you wouldn't do that. Let's just get it into 12 if we can. I really wish it knew that it should go into 12 at this point, because quite clearly it's within the range. It's between 10 and 15,000 revs. So it should know, but for some reason it just decided, I want to stick in 11th even though you've got me in economy mode. It took whenever you began to cruise to just go to the highest gear possible without dropping out of the rev range. But you know, that's my main issue right now, weirdly, is the auto transmission, which doesn't feel like a proper auto transmission. And weirdly, OMSI, a tiny development team, I'm swerving, has gotten that right. So very right. I played that recently for that video and I just got remembered how nice that gearbox is. Oh, it feels so good to drive. I mean, how can that small team of 2 people get that thing so right? Where SCS software is just slightly missing the point by a little bit. It's just weird that. That's still such a good game though, or simulator. It's not very pretty, and it's not very stable, but my god, OMSI is a lot of quality anyway. Let's just slow down here, because I don't know what I'm coming down to. Yep, wander's down to 40, thought so. Turn off the indicator here. Bring it down, come on, lower, 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 lower. We need to go low, otherwise the police will care about it, even though they wouldn't in real life. Hang on, is it Sunday? No, it's Saturday, good, I'm not breaking the law. That happened to Top Gear like a couple of times, didn't it? It happened, they were filming a supercar drive for regular Top Gear in Italy, where they were pulled over and told, oh no, you can't work. Because, you know, it's Sunday in Italy, you can't work, because why would you have a functioning economy? And then it happened again when they filmed one of their, was it Best Road Trips or something like that, where they were also filming in Italy, and they were also pulled over and had to stop filming, because they were working on a Sunday. I've missed the right turn off. Let's go around, go around, go around, go around. Nice and easy. But we also see the new Iveco Stralis, which is sort of a weird thing. Oh, I forgot to mention, the MAN might be receiving an upgrade as well, because they had the new MAN TGX. Is that what it's called in the game? Which is, or in the trailer or Christmas thing, which is nice, you know, just more upgrades. It's quite an outdated model. I mean, what's left of outdated models? There's the old Stralis, there's the MP3 Mercedes, and there's the MAN, and there's the classic Volvo, and I think that's it. All of those models, by the way, could do with an upgrade on update. I've seen a couple of mods for it, but it would just be nice to see even more stuff for that kind of thing, because, you know, it would be nice having them there. Let's then turn in here and drop off this trailer. We can make it. You're not gonna make it. No. Oh, hang on, no, we ain't gonna take it. That's the song, innit? So we'll turn in here into this lot, just clipping it there. Where we're dropping it there. So I'm going to reverse from here down to there, because that puts them on our left-hand side, which is a lot easier. Blindsiding really is a pain when you restrict yourself to just having this and your mirrors, not using the virtual mirrors. I should also get rid of that Christmas tree, shouldn't I? That's a bit late for that. It was nice during the Christmas season. Yeah, we'll have both series and season in the same word. Why would that be a problem? They upgraded the trailer, if you haven't noticed yet. There's lovely little lights, and the straps are quite nicely done with Christmas motif on the side, which is nice. We just need to get this right, which can be a bit difficult, and I'm out of practice. And I'm sure this wouldn't be a thing you'd be out of practice with in real life. I'm guessing even an old and retired, half-blind lorry driver, I could put them in a modern lorry and they'd get this right the first time. Because, you know, lorry drivers are good at these things. You would almost think it was their job. Oh, God, look at this. I'm almost nailing it. Yeah, we'll just need to do a bit more steering. Ah, yeah, boy! Or go, which doesn't sound quite as good. I mean, this'll do, won't it? Back here, drop the trailer off, get in. And I've been to Sicily now. Let's see here, how much did we lots of things, can't really see it because my steering wheel. Anyway, this has been my delivery number 4 on tier 2 of the Grand Gift Delivery 2017. It's been a look at many things for Euro Truck Simulator. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Goodbye.